Welcome to the Scrap Table Podcast. We're here with Aaron Paderewski, actor, director, writer, producer. Really, you've done a lot of everything in the film industry. I'm here with Ramone Coles, and we're excited to have you on.
I was about to
Thank you.
ask, like, what
Thanks for
what
having
haven't
me.
you done?
I don't know. I wear many hats, and I think as a filmmaker, you tip your toes in a little bit of everything because you want to be good at what you do.
Right.
So it's good to learn everything.
I
that
think
way.
I think that what makes you one of the great directors here, and
Well,
not
thank
just
you.
the Low Country, but in South Carolina. And I wanted to have you on today. I know you have a really big project that you guys, and I got to be a part of as well. And The Sins Beneath. Is this your first feature film?
It's my full feature film. I worked on another one in Savannah called Carry On. So this is more of my project. Is The Sins Beneath.
And you wrote that with Jason Usuri?
Yeah, Jason Usuri, and we created a story based upon some factual things that we had heard about land that was had some sketchy past, and we wrote it into the script, and which gave us The Sins Beneath.
Where? Like from where? Land from where?
So there's plantation lands, I think, mostly in the South of evil things that went on.
Yeah.
And we touch on that a little bit in this film.
That's dope.
Do you want to give us like a brief description of kind of the film without spoiling it
Right.
too much?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, so it's a family that moves down from New York after COVID for a fresh start. The husband finds this beautiful plantation house on some land and very quiet by itself in a really small neighborhood with not many people. And they go there with a lot of, as everybody is in their life, has a past of things that, sins that they've committed and they hold in their heart and they don't talk about. Well, this movie is about when the evil knocks at your front door, they'll want to bring that sin out of you and do evil things.
So is this a horror?
It is. It's a horror film.
This sounds pretty. This sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
It sounds really good. Sean likes period pieces. I personally, I don't really like horror because it's just so easy to tell. But I like something like it, just like we were speaking about earlier, the substance in it, like the actual message behind it and the history behind it. I love our at least Charleston's history, but the Low Country's history, especially during that time. It's intriguing. It's mysterious. It's it's just captivating. I love that. And I also wanted to touch on what you were saying earlier about bringing that substance back to film.
Yes.
So, what is your message for this film?
Well, I think the message is pertains to a lot of that. It's when we all do bad things in life. We live through them. We make change. When something evil comes knocking, are you going to let that evil into your heart and do terrible things, or are you going to be a better human being? And I think this family has a lot of turmoil and a lot of love, and they have to decide on which way to go. In this, and it's a roller coaster ride. I think the audience, the last probably 35, 45 minutes is going to go on a ride. So, yeah.
So with this film is, I kind of know a little background, but for the audience, you're kind of set to hoping to release 2025 with the film.
Yes, sometime in 2025 we'll release the film.
And also with this movie, one thing I think for audience we want to touch on is you acted and directed this film. What are the challenges of being a director and actor, and like how did you learn to juggle the two?
Yeah, I did. I play the Travis, which is a plumber in this film. I'm kind of the catalyst of how things change in some aspects. There's other things that allow that to change. And I watched Mel Gibson on when he had directed and acted and what he did. I watched some of the interviews and things that he said on how
Braveheart, right?
Yeah, Braveheart. To go and make that transition when you're a director and when you're an actor, you completely separate the both. And you did. You just shut one off, and you have to. And that's needed. I think I was cast in a film earlier last year, and the director knew that I was a director, and he had a private talk with me, and he said that I need you to leave your director out at the truck, and he's exactly right. I think that a lot of times in the industry, many people behind the camera and in front of the camera need to realize to stay in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And I think when we do that, we're able to do our job the best way we possibly can. And then what I do is just form a team that everybody is really good in every position. I always direct like an NFL football coach. I want everybody, there's the players, your receiver, your running back, your tight end, everybody plays their position correctly. What if it's just, if we're sound, if we're camera, if we're focus puller, if we're PA, for electric, DP, everything.
I think that doubles back to that saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you have a strong DP, you have a strong gaffer, you have a strong field mix recordist, boom op, when you can get strong people in all of those roles, you don't have to hold hands. You don't have to coach and, worry about what that guy's doing. And I've had the pleasure of getting to DP River Rats for you, an award-winning short out of the 48 in Savannah. And then I also got to do some pickup days for the Sins Beneath. And one thing I wanted to tell the audience is we as crew classify directors a little bit. We like to say, oh, they're a crew director base, or they're a camera director base, or they're more cast. And I think with you is you've had so much experience, shared experience in the editing rooms and getting to work behind the scenes, is you have the ability to really tap into actors with your acting talent. And then you also are very knowledgeable to go, this is what I want from the camera. This is what I want here. This is the contrast ratios I want for my lighting setups. And it's really comforting as a DP myself to go to a director who's knowledgeable in all fields. It's cool. I work with both. Sometimes I have a director who's like, hey, you set up the shot. This is what I'm looking for. But I think our working relationship was really fun on River Rats because sometimes I was lost. Sometimes I'm sitting there and you walk up and you're just like, what if we did this? And, you gave me enough freedom, but you also knew what you wanted as a director. And I thought that was really awesome.
Thank you. Yes. And I think that's what the director does. You steer the ship, right? And you want to keep it, between the goalposts, everybody. And as long as you can keep them, there's going to be a stray off to the side or the other side, but keep it on course. And one of the biggest things is the message, the story. I mean, just you hear directors talk about, I just want to tell stories. Yeah, but it's more than that. It takes good actors.
It can be that simple too. And I like to go back with the crew and putting everyone having their roles. It's almost like having a blank canvas. The director knows what he wants the picture to be, but everyone has a paintbrush.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to make sure people are coloring in the lines a little bit of your picture. And, as a DP, when people ask, well, what does a DP do? Because DPs don't, you always hear famous directors. I can't name hardly any famous DPs. And, I watch a lot of these people. But the DP's job is to bring your vision to life. So I think spacing out, but stay on track with that, just keeping everyone in line is kind of a big deal for the director, and having someone knowledgeable on set to know exactly what they want, to take the guesswork out, to take the lighting out. Like you, as a director, if you go, hey, I know how I want this lit. I want a high key or low key lighting. There's no get to the final results and it's not what you expected.
Right. I think all of that, as you see, and every DP is different. When you work with them, you can see what they like, what they don't like, and you let them handle the lighting and so on. But if there's a little touch of something, it's not uncommon just to say, hey, I think that maybe go with a little purple rather than a red.
Yeah.
For the nightmare scene, this might look a little bit more authentic for the
it's
field.
Like that two heads are better than one always. It always sums up to that, and especially when both heads knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
I do want to touch on touch back on the fact that you were director and actor in this project. I can see where it could be a little easier to flip that switch when you're on another set, on a set that's not yours. But how do you make that or flip that switch when you're working on your own project versus, well, I'm not versus, but on your own set? How do you go from director and then flipping that switch and then straight to actor?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
So a lot of practice, going through the character and being ready for the character that you're going to bring. And I did that. And the people that have seen the film, had noticed how I shifted into this other human being. I play a pretty sketchy guy, and it was fun. It was fun. It's always fun playing people. I play a lot of bad guys.
Are you Method?
Really great. Method and Meisner.
That's what I was gonna say.
Stanislavski. I mean, I'm a multiple of things. You just all the training you get, you put everything you learn into this toolbox, and when you need to go into that toolbox, you pull that out and you use it. So it's a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Improv. To be ready to bring it is important.
Yeah.
Raise the stakes.
So do you have any future projects or plans coming up for 2025?
I do. My co-writer and myself, we've been working on, we've got about 4 right now that we've been working on. One is completed. We're just doing, it's mostly his. We just did some little highlights to it, and that's just about complete. And that is a kind of a detective serial killer whodunit film. Very exciting. And a little bit like No Country for Old Men is how it's going to go.
I love that movie.
Wow.
Yeah, very good, very good. One of my favorite films, one of my favorite directors for that. And it has that style. The story will keep you on on the edge. And who did it? I think we're going to hide that a little bit.
Okay.
You're going to think this, you're going to think that, you're going to think this, but it's going to be a big surprise. And that one is about a serial killer loose in a small town, and the FBI gets called in to help out because they can't find him. And there are people, women turning missing, and they have to hunt this guy down. And a lot of things happen towards the end. It tells a really great story. Meanwhile, the father's dealing with the loss of his wife, losing to cancer, and this he's raising a 16-year-old daughter. So that's tough, juggling the both and going through the pain of all of that, and then having to be a dad.
I was about to say, a single parent and a father raising a daughter. That's something that it's not really seen a lot in society these days, And then it's great to touch on something like that because it's kind of taboo as well, because a lot of people don't think that it's possible for a man to be able to assume that role and do it effectively.
Right. And I think that's important because we don't, touching on that. I mean, there's a lot of things that the industry we haven't seen that I think we need to touch on, amazing moments in somebody's story, and to be able to tell it and have everybody else enjoy it and go through that. I think all of us as audience members, when we go to a film, we want to submerge ourselves into one of the characters. That's why the characters really matter.
You need to relate.
Yeah, you would say, "Oh, well, I'm just like them. I'm just like him. I'm just like her. That's me, or I'm that dad."
I think with a lot of your films too, they're not all horror. I think your comedy films we've been a part of, and some of your drama films, all your characters have. I don't want to say backstory, because of course every film a character has a backstory, but like you said, from my experience with working on Sins Beneath, each character has their own sets of problems that like the dad could relate to me, the brother could relate to him. Like each character is so unique that somebody else can relate to and feel that pain. And I think that's what makes great writing and great storytelling is, it's art. Not everyone's going to watch it and go, I like this film. And there's some people's going to watch it and be like, I love this. This is my favorite film. And I love those controversial type movies where it may just touch me. Like it may be right here.
Right.
But to you might be like, I just don't get it. And I mean, I'll even double back. No Country for Old Men. I did not like that movie at all. it was so hyped for me that I waited so long to watch it. When I watched it, it was almost too much. Like everyone talked about it so much. And then, but then the other one, the Tarantino film he did, what's the Hollywood one where
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I didn't want to watch that because I was so disappointed with the No Country for Old Men, and I finally watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood after like years of it being out. Yeah, I loved it. I was like, this is great. Why did I wait so long? But again, each film's gonna resonate. I'm not a Star Wars fan. And man, people love Star Wars.
You're one of the few that's not a Star Wars fan.
They'll kick me in the face for saying that.
Wow. Are you a Trekkie?
Wow. And I think that's what's cool about your films is your characters have so much depth and detail, and in your writing, and a testament to you and Jason, who was involved in that, and even River Rats. I mean, each character in River Rats was just relatable.
Yeah, substance. Bringing substance is important. And Brad Pitt and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I mean, just one of the big things I remember is him in the karate scene. Fighting and getting thrown against the car, and he's drinking milk.
I haven't seen.
Oh my gosh, he's drinking milk, and he says, "You think you could do better?" And he goes, "Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah." It was just great. He brought the character to it, and
then the end scene too, when they break in.
Yeah,
and he's it was like it didn't phase him.
He's
like
so calm, cool, and collective because he's a stuntman, and he
as an actor to come up with that character, and I think that's a testament to like how great Tarantino. That's a Tarantino film.
That's Tarantino. Yeah.
How great some of his stuff is, and I'm not a Tarantino fan either. Filmmaker who's not a Tarantino fan, but it's a testament to him as a director, and an actor to get that out because you can get a script and a scene down to a line, and you can play that one line 5 different ways, 100 different ways. You can take it, start low, go high, end low. There's so many ways you can run just one line, let alone a scene. And then to see that end scene or the I think it's supposed to be Bruce Lee, like the karate scene. To see how that plays out, and it's supposed to be such a dark film with that moment. And you're laughing. You were like,
it's fun. It's
I laughed
fun
so
scene.
hard at the karate scene, and it's not supposed to be funny.
Exactly. But that's good. I mean, you have a film where you can laugh, cry,
hit all those emotions.
Cheer. That's what we want. I mean, that's why, to me, Forrest Gump is the most complete film ever made, in my opinion.
Matthew's never seen Forrest Gump all the way through.
Wow.
I'm gonna put you on blast.
He is a Gen Z guy, so I mean,
so to learn on everything that it has everything. You laugh, you cry, you cheer. It's just got everything.
It's a great movie.
It's about life.
It's a little long.
A little bit long.
Touch back on that. I know you were speaking on, these characters being relatable like that, and it also it helps the community because, or it can, just like you were saying, taking these characters through the whole process of having this problem, and then facing their demons, pretty much, and then it being relatable to people, it also it can inspire somebody to become better,
Absolutely,
which makes the community a better place as well,
right.
And I know you were speaking on about helping the community. So what things are you doing?
Well, I think that we have a big production team here now with Rough House. They're here. And they do, a show here every year, and films off and on. But on a smaller scale, I would love to be part of the group that's doing other indie films here in the area. And when I say in the area, that also means Charlotte, Savannah, Charleston.
Yeah, it's a southeast.
Columbia. Just to bring all our communities together and just do some great films that tell a story and have this message that people can feel really good about.
I think that's something too I want to say to like local filmmakers who watch this is you have to get out of you can't be local. Our film community here is Savannah and Atlanta and Charlotte. You have to be able, because me and you, we work out of Savannah and Atlanta all the time. And I think for people who are in the film industry and really want to branch out, there's 10 of us in Charleston. There's 30 of us in Greenville. There's 1,000 of us in Atlanta. There's 1,000 of us in Savannah. So if you start branching out and building those communities and not being scared to travel and things like that, it'll really change your career path. And, you know, we work with a lot of guys out of Trident Technical College, you too. I mean,
right.
and it feels so disheartening. Like, oh, I can't get a job in the industry. You know, Righteous Gemstones won't hire me, or OBX won't hire me. And it's like, you guys, those are 2 shows. I mean, commercial world here is huge. I don't think people realize that. But not everybody wants to direct and star in commercials.
Right. Spreading your wings.
Yep.
You know, I think that, and you know, those guys at Rough House, I got to work with them. I was in the 2018 Halloween. I played the mechanic in that, so I got to work with Danny and David.
That's cool.
Gordon
We just
Green,
had
so
Michael
that was
Smallwood.
great.
Michael Smallwood
Small
was just
in
on
it.
here.
Yeah, we've been at plenty of in-person auditions over the years. Yeah, I mean, there's the film community is really tight, and I think when you get a chance to work with a lot of, you know, very successful people, you know, I think there's this conception that, oh, they're all, you know, this or that. Nah, there's a lot of good people there. There really is.
Yeah.
You know, and I think with the fires in LA that have been happening, and I grew up there, mostly
you're
in
from
San Diego,
you're
but
from
we
the SoCal area?
spent a lot of time in LA.
You're from San Diego?
I'm from San Diego.
I've
yeah.
always wanted to live in San Diego. I don't know why. I've
place.
always wanted to
Go
live there.
Raiders.
Yeah,
Really?
go
So-
Los Angeles Chargers.
Do you miss it over there?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. I kind of, you know, I have a lot of friends that were there, part of my production teams there. They were evacuated.
Wow.
So, you know, they're affected. A lot of people are affected. And then, you know, those are regular human beings over there this is happening to. And it's not beyond their
I think it's
control,
hard. I
so.
think I say outside looking in a lot, man. The internet making memes and joking.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's terrible. These are real people, whether they're celebrities, whether they're multi 6-figure class, high class, upper class, they're people.
Yeah, they are.
And I think it's so disheartening to see the internet just rag and make fun of someone's loss. And it is terrible. And I think a lot of people we keep coming in contact to because our industry stems out of LA.
It does.
You talk film, it's Los Angeles. So we have so many people we connect with and talk to on a daily basis. And it sucks to see it. I mean, I hate it for everyone over there.
So what is what's the status on that? Like, what is it? Is it ongoing? Is it still going on?
No, I think there's a little bit, but they're getting it out now. They're running
more
the rounds.
controlled?
It's getting controlled. But the loss of life and houses, it was tremendous.
Right.
I mean, it was my director mentor was in the area, and you know, he was very close, but he was okay. And I reached out to him just to see him and his family is okay. And you know, I just on social media, I'm friends with a lot of people and actors and talent out there, and to hear them lose their house and it, you know, for them to, you know, talk about, it's not just the house, it's all the stuff that, you know, 30, 40 years of acting,
acquiring,
you know, outfits that they wore on Academy Award winning films
It's
is burn up,
irreplaceable.
gone.
Exactly.
You can't find that material. It's just,
And that's what I think the internet doesn't realize when they're like, oh, they're millionaires, they can replace it. Insurance will cover it. It's like,
it's not
there's
about
baby
that.
pictures
Yeah,
in
there's
there.
some
There's
things that
family, some stuff. And I try not to be too much of a sentimental person, but I feel like there's so much stuff that can't be replaced. Imagine just your house burning down right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're lucky to be alive. It's like, yeah, but I still lost everything. Oh, insurance will cover it. But you don't understand. Like, there's gifts I received.
Right.
You know, my buddy that was just on here, he has gifted me things from his business that are one of one.
Nice.
Like,
yeah.
and that's stuff I wanted to treasure as a friend. And there's things like that that's just, I couldn't imagine what they're going through.
It's an interesting industry, and I think that along the way, as human beings, we all lose our way, and I think that don't lose our way, and just don't attach ourselves to negativity and stay the course and stay moving forward and be positive.
Yeah, and I think in the film industry too, one of the things you talked about a minute ago, you mentioned that like there are good people in the industry, and I think for up and coming people, like myself or like you and Ramone, we all work, and Matthew, we all work in this industry, is some of the things I learned from the pros is really check your egos.
Yeah.
When you walk on a set,
Yeah.
like you said, if you're hired to be a PA, be a PA. Don't try and tell the DP how to set up a shot or how you would do it,
There you
or
go.
how you have a black magic camera, or just, that's a running joke. I apologize.
No.
And I think that's important. I think you have to check your egos. It's like, you're not, it's good. And I do too. I mean, as an AC, I go on set, you know, I DP. I'm more than capable of probably DPing a project. But when I'm hired as an AC, I'm not telling the DP how to light his scene.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to help him. It's just he doesn't need my advice. That
Right.
guy is in that position because he earned it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for you as a director, actor, like you said, separate yourself. When you get hired to act on someone else's role,
Yeah.
that urge inside of how you would probably do it is there, but you almost have to leave it in the car,
Yeah.
come to set, remember this is your job, this is your role. Maybe you know best, maybe you don't, but there's a reason for hierarchy in the film industry. And I think a lot of newer people that we work with don't get that. And
Yeah.
I don't want to downplay people or anything like that, but
Mhm.
it is really, really frustrating for, I don't know, for filmmakers on set.
Well, I have a index card on my mirror in my bathroom because I audition frequently as an actor. I have an agent in Atlanta and in Austin, Texas.
Dope.
So I have a reminder card of what to do before an audition. My number one thing, and I think that even in the film industry when we're on set, if we all think about it, is my number one rule: it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's
Number
oh
one.
my goodness, you're right.
Yep. And I think if we
about the
all know and get on set and just be a human being and do our job and realize it's teamwork that makes this, you're literally making music. You're making an award-winning song. And in order to do that, everybody, all the instruments need to play on cue, on key to make this happen.
A
And it
producer,
takes a team.
I saw a seminar a year ago, and one of the producers that was kind of displaying, she said it really well. She said, our industry's so difficult because you have 6 months to prepare, then you have 3 weeks to hire a crew of 40 to 100 people that have never worked together, hoping there's not one horrible person in the group, and then putting them all on set to follow this master plan from one person that most people's never even met, and just hoping it all executes properly. So you're going to have tension. You're going to have problems on set, and most of the great directors can adapt.
Right.
And
Right.
I hate to say it this way, but some of the directors I've worked with are not scared to fire people on set. Like no person's bigger than the project. And if you
Exactly.
see,
Right.
you
The
see a
greater
crew
good,
member, an actor, and some of these sets, even on indie budgets, are running $20,000 a day minimum, $20,000 a day, and you have somebody who's supposed to be helping out at a small scale level, risking that.
Right.
If your camera guy throws a tantrum and shuts down and leaves, you just shut down, out of town actors. You just shut down plane tickets. You just shut down hotel fees. There's so much. And I know I'm getting off track, but to delve back to your note, it's not about you. And that's I think that's so deep in itself. And then also as an actor, when you were saying that, I think that's really great advice as an actor. When you audition for a character, take yourself out of it. Don't go, how can I play this part? You need to think of how that person and that backstory will play that part.
Yeah. That's being a director is fun for me as an actor too, because I can see how a scene begins and ends. So that helps. And I'll use how I feel it may go, but a lot of times I'll also read the text, but sometimes I just don't even care about the text. I'll just do
You
it.
recently just acted in a film with Orlando Bloom as well too. So
I did. It's on Hulu now. Red Right Hand, fun movie. Orlando was great. I was on set for an hour early morning, and he's walking up to talk to me. It was really great. Admiring my beard, which was fun. So we had a good time.
I don't want to butcher this. Was that Coen Brothers?
No, that was wow. You just got me on that one.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I thought you had
that's, I'll remember it in a second. But just to finish the story, I was on set with him, and we were in some intense scenes where it was pretty violent. And I remember Garrett Dylan Hunt was on set, he was excellent too. I had a gun pointed at my head, my hands tied behind my back. There was a scene director said, I want you guys to make this natural, go all out. And we did. And the prep, if you had a live camera and a microphone to listen to what we did, all three of us, before we walked into that room with three other actors, it was really intense. It was.
Did they give you all
really
trauma
intense.
therapy afterwards, or is there any kind of?
It was hot. We went in there. You know, I had a gun to my head. I was security for Annie McDowell. I was there to protect her son, Zeke, and Orlando comes in to kidnap Zeke, not to blow the film, but we
been
come
out long
barging
enough.
in. It has, yeah. We go in and barge in and all out, pumped, just ready to go. And yeah, I caught a steel toe right in the chest, and
Oh, man.
it was real as hell. And then it was funny. They came over to me. Are you all right? I'm like, yeah, let's do that again. That was real. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in the moment. I'm all for it. I'm a willing actor, and I mean, obviously, safety is always concerned, but
Right.
you know, I'm fine. You know, let's do it. Let's make
Yeah,
this
you see
film
moments
real.
like that, and I don't think people watching understand what goes into that. We were on a set. I'm not gonna say the movie name, but one of the actresses was method acting and had to go into like an
Oh,
intense
yeah.
moment like that, and like
Yeah.
threw herself into a panic attack.
No,
And the
boy.
director's like, "You guys ready to go?" I was like, "Hold on, hold on." I shut the whole scene down.
No, wow.
I was like, y'all got." The director didn't see the signs, and then the actress just full on panic attack right there, and you know it was like 3 or 4 takes of just getting herself to this tense moment. I think she lost a loved one or something, and
No, wow.
it's actors really, especially. I don't want to say discredit Meisner because I feel like that's the safest way to go, but with method acting too is these not these actors like yourself really bring yourself to such a heightened emotional sense. Like when you see people crying on set, they're at a deep state. Like they are bringing themselves into a level of pain, and there's so much safety concern. That's why I was asking. I was joking about the trauma therapist, but there usually is people on set that will look out for actors after scenes like that.
Yeah, and when you're on a smaller set and you don't have that,
Right.
then your group,
Yeah.
your crew, your actors will be able to consult. You know, you just have to. It just depends on the scene. We had some intense scenes in The Sins Beneath. They were very, yeah. It's you know, I think we've got a couple scenes in there that are which Sean you've seen. I think
Yeah.
it's the I think it'll be pretty unique for a film scene.
Yeah, and I'm not like Ramone said, I'm not a huge horror guy either, but I feel like there's so much storyline, and
Right.
it's almost like a thriller feel.
Right.
Yeah.
And it has
Yeah.
to be. I feel
It
like
is.
that makes a horror film.
But it is dark. Like even watching it, I'm like, wow, for the actors.
Yeah, the
You know,
tone. It's got a really
It's painful.
yeah,
Very.
yeah.
So for our community that we're pretty much building as we go.
Right.
What do you think that we need more for our region, or you know, our space at least?
Well, I think the industry is in a big shift right now. You know, ever since COVID, the industry has just taken a beating. You know, we've had the COVID hit us, and then we had multiple strikes hit us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everything has slowed down drastically. It's very tough as an actor to be starting off when now we're having to catch back up from so much loss of time and material that has been shot. I think that more producers, directors, and filmmakers trusting in the Southeast in our talents would be great for all of us. And you know, look at Atlanta is a mecca now for
right.
film.
Right.
Savannah's turned out big. We want to get more here in Charleston. You know, maybe that's getting some of the politicians involved. You know, some of
Right.
the state senators.
Yeah.
Which I have some friends that are state senators to allocate some more tax incentives. That would be great. Bring more film here. I mean, look at Charleston. It's beautiful. I mean, just imagine the film that we can do here. We've got these gorgeous properties on the coast. You know, even the plantation properties. There's great. It's a great set to shoot a film.
I think
All this water. I mean,
one of the big
beaches,
things
wonderful.
too that talk about the industry shift, it feels like there's an audience shift. I feel
There
like
is.
people are tired of watching the same reprinted
Yeah.
products. It's the same
Right.
superhero films. It's the same IPs. It
Hmm.
seems like the big studios have burned. They're getting to a short leash of just printing money. Nobody wants to
Yeah.
invest millions of dollars unless they know they can get their millions of dollars back. And I think with larger small studios like A24 is a huge everyone
Yes.
and everyone knows A24
Right.
because they're sharing real stories, because their films, you may not like their films, some of their stuff may not relate to everyone, but because their films are unique original stories, I think they're driving a new audience, a new wave of audience. Like, people watching films don't want to go watch, I don't want to name drop because I'm going to get sued, but
No, I get it.
no one wants to see the same action figures, superhero, cartoon characters, books. It's made on repeat, you know,
remakes,
print, wash, print, release. Like,
Right.
and I think there's a shift. And I think with COVID and the strikes and the industry is really just only wanting to support their own stuff, I think there's been a big movement in indie film, and we have tools to self-produce. We have smaller scale distribution companies, and there's ways for us as indie filmmakers to make a living and produce stories, going back to like a director telling stories, to produce the stories we want to tell.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I think that's great for us. And I know it sounds terrible because the industry took a hit, but I feel like it just leveled the playing field. I feel like it brought the big wig studios down to some of the guys like A24's level. Not saying that A24 is not big, but I think they're at a 2 million cap or something.
I think it's 4 million.
Did they?
now.
They just got I know they made. There was
up.
running jokes on the internet about their cap increase, and
Right.
but still, I think it's leveling the playing fields. You're giving there's no gatekeeper now.
Right.
There's no 10 years ago.
It's true.
Yeah.
Now we have Tubi, and I say that because I have films on Tubi.
YouTube TV, Tubi. You know,
You'd have
streaming has changed.
You'd have to
everything.
fight your way tooth and nail, and in a city of Charleston, you would never find that. In South Carolina, you wouldn't really find
An opportunity.
to get on a streaming platform. But thanks to the advances of streaming, which is a double-edged sword, because I feel like it's killing theaters,
Right.
which I like.
Yeah, I love theater.
I try to go to movie releases.
Yeah, we should never get rid of theaters. We should always, and I think that everybody in the audience now support your local theaters.
Yeah,
Go back to the
100%.
theater, because you know that's strength in film. It's strength and community, and it'll help the community out for filmmaking as well. It's not all about, you know.
We've seen an increase of larger scale theaters from Columbia to here, also not charging us, but showing indie films.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Which is amazing. I mean, we just premiered in a Cinemark. We went to Virginia. We filmed at it was like a Cinebar, like a huge IMAX theater. They played one of our shorts, and then Columbia had one. But to see theaters open up to the indie world is back to what I'm getting at, where the audience is starting to get what they want. I'm not the only person who feels that way. I'm not the only person who doesn't want to see another Marvel film. Yeah. I'm just being honest. Like, there's other people who want substance and movies with a story and heartfelt endings, and not just $1 million actors thrown into a role to print money.
So whenever I do a film or a story, and Sean, I think you've had a moments to hear from me, is I want the audience to learn something, to feel something. And if we're not doing that, then if there's no message, then what are we doing? This is a moment, I think, in the industry that maybe the audience will dictate what we're going to be able to see. Let the audience vote for what they want to see, and let them support the films that they enjoy. Wow, that was a great film. You know, let's go see it again. Let's pay for another viewing of it on streaming. You know, let's support that community. If it's a good film, let's support it.
I think, and also we should encourage our audience to go out to these 48-hour film festivals. Go support the viewing of these local film festivals, because you'll be really surprised. The quality won't be Hollywood, but the stories that you see in a lot of these film festivals, you know, not just 48s, but film festivals in general, like the South Carolina and all those, are great. If you enjoy good feeling movies, shorts, fun community, and you want to get into the film community program, that's how you meet people.
That's true. And there's a big one, and there's big festivals everywhere. And just reach out. You know, Atlanta's got Cobb International Film Festival, which is great.
Yeah, you just premiered River Rats at Cobb.
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest I think festivals I've had a project I was a part of in.
Yeah, and it was one of the finalists, and it did really well. Got to meet a couple big actors there, and a great film community. I mean, the people and context I got was so tremendous. It's helpful, and I think that's what I mean. What we said earlier is broadening our range a little bit, and to stretch our reach and meet new people. And just the other day, I had a friend of mine reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've got a set deck guy that I would love for you to meet." I said, "Great, send him my number."
Yeah,
we met, and we talked back and forth, and it melded very well. And I said, wow, I'm going to bring this guy on board to do a project, to get a good set deck guy. That's great. And, just doing a project that is fun and has a good story or message is what we should all be being a part of.
And I think with these, to touch base back on the festivals, is the festivals aren't about winning awards.
No.
It's about networking.
Right.
It is.
Gone is the day of distribution deals from festivals, unless you're Sundance, the Canadian, is it TIFF?
Oh, TIFF, yeah.
Toronto International Film Festival. Unless you're really premiering and you're battling with multi-million-dollar films in those, you're not there to get distribution deals. You're not there. You want a trophy, cool. It's fun. We have trophies. It's a great pat on the back, but what you get from these festivals are the networking.
Right.
I mean, I've met a few directors just at that 48 that I now work with, and just like you said, at the Cobb International Film Festival, I'm sure that was an amazing experience. Just if you go there, the things you can learn. Hey, yeah, that was my film that showed. Oh, that was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's so much bigger than just a bunch of friends making a movie.
Feedback is always good. It is for
Real,
anybody.
genuine feedback.
Yeah, genuine. There
We
you
had
go.
the
Yeah,
video
that's
going
good.
around, the no yes friends, and that applies to us as well. Like,
Okay.
as you as a director, you probably have 10 people right now you can call and get honest opinion. And then you also probably have 10 people that's going to tell everything you send them is going to be great.
Yeah.
So it's a distinguishing, having true, honest feedback will help you grow.
I always speak the truth.
That's beautiful.
And sometimes the truth might be too much, but at least we know where we stand and we could grow and learn. Another thing I didn't touch on is studying. All of us in the industry just keep learning. I learn every day. I'm constantly studying. If it's on the director side, if it's on the acting side, the lighting side. I mean, I think it never ends. You're always learning. Like, wow, I did this. I'm going to do this better next time. The whole point of doing a film is the next time you do one, be better.
Yeah.
Build, better.
And there's so
every
many
time.
things to grow. I think, I circle back to my career with all the directors. I think some of the stuff that I try to teach, even with people who help me out with gaffing or lighting, I always try to explain, why am I doing this? And then with directors, I try to preach things like cadence and composition. And most directors are like, what's cadence? And I'm like, the tempo of the scene. Like the whole film. I mean, you look at Interstellar, that whole film was built off of a click track. That's cadence. And a lot of your indie directors don't get that. Or, lighting, like I'm go back to a gaffer, like, hey, why are we running this versus this? It's like, oh, well, the wraparound, you get a little bit of that roll off. And to testament to your work, getting to work with you, it's fun having a director that understands on that level of, you can talk in that way. And I think, to me, you're one of the up and coming directors in this area. And, I've been honored to get to work with you on a lot of stuff too. And I know we have a lot of stuff planned.
So, name dropping time.
Oh boy.
Who's the biggest star that you've worked with?
Oh my God. I worked with Mel Gibson, I think.
Oh, that's dope.
Long time ago.
Okay.
And I was just this side guy over here, a little character. And I sat next to Heath Ledger for 3 days on set for The Patriot.
You grew up with, who did you say you grew up with?
Jack
No, in California, I grew up with, I was in the San Diego County Junior Golf Association competing. And I grew up with Phil Mickelson. Throw.
Nicholson. Yeah.
And he was on his high school team. I was on my high school team, and we would compete. And then they had a tournament run that we played together. I haven't spoken to him in a long time. One of my clients spoke to him and mentioned my name to him. And he said, hi. But yeah, that.
I would have never taken you for a golfer, especially on a competitive
big golfer.
level.
I mean, for many years, golf. My dad was a golf pro, and a lot of people don't know. My father was a film producer back in the day when I was a little kid, and he took me on set when I was probably 6 and 7 years old.
That's awesome.
So you always knew you wanted to be in film?
After I saw it on set, and I watched a tremendous amount of film. It's a struggle every day to find something really good, a good TV show that I stay intrigued with. But I learned from a lot. I think I go back I went back and saw some of the older films from the 80s. And I was like, wow, they did some really good stuff on this.
Yeah.
Why did we shy away from it? And I think we have. I mean, technology changes, which is good. I mean, we can address the AI situation if we want.
I strictly watch 80s and 90s film up to early 2000. That's I feel like 90 or 85 to 2000 is like peak cinema. Like for my field, I like dramatic thrillers and crime and stuff like that. It's that era is just smooth.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of the Steadicam stuff they introduced in the late 90s.
Right.
But I feel like the storytelling
when it's actually steady.
Yeah, like films like Double Jeopardy and What Lies Beneath.
And great film.
The story and the shots, the film, cinema tells the story.
Right.
Like there's a scene in What Lies Beneath, and I joke because I'm like, man, the Steadicam must have just came out this year because that whole film is Steadicam.
Yeah.
But there's a shot where they track up the stairs into the mirror, and anyone who's seen this film as a filmmaker is going, how did they do this? Yeah. And I still don't really know. I'm sure there's a breakdown on it, but I'm pretty sure there wasn't an actual mirror. I think they used a double on the other side, but it's crazy. Like,
are we touching on AI?
So we've lost those films, by the way. What that film you just mentioned?
We've lost
those style of films that really truly keep you on edge and tell you the story.
That's my style as because I direct a little bit too, but like for my personal films that I write, that's my source. Yeah, that's what I relate to. That's what I watch. I know, not to interrupt you real quick. One of the traits when we first met, we talked about is me and you both watch film every night and break it down. Yeah, like people don't know that, and I think that's what it takes to be great and be good. Is what are you doing that other videographers and other DPs and directors aren't doing? And I have aspirations to direct as well. I break down, me and Aaron related on this first day. It's like every night we watch something and we break it down. We write down scenes. I make shot lists off of other people's films. In my, I'm pausing films, and it drives Ashleigh crazy sometimes because now she can't unsee stuff. Like I'm pointing out cuts and miscuts, and
my gosh,
and now I've ruined films for Ashleigh too. And it's fun and it's addicting, and I think that's what makes. It's going to separate you. It's not just a competition, but it's like it separates your growth and helps you learn.
I don't know if I can be in a film and not say anything. I don't think that's even possible.
I don't like watching my own films. There's a lot of movies that I have shot that I won't go back and rewatch.
Really? Yeah.
After I've seen it at least once, or sometimes I watch it to see the cuts, but it's really hard for me because I'm like, gosh, I wish I could have done that. I should have done that. Why is my camera this low? Like. What was I thinking here?
You got to shake that off and learn, and then just correct it for the next time. And there's countless things that I have seen that I wanted to do differently, but I learned from them. Yeah. I made sure that the next time I'm going to do this differently. It's all about learning, and growing. And I think if we all study, that's what you'll find out, even watching the films and learning. But what are we seeing is right. I think that when you're a young filmmaker and you're just starting out and you want to do like the 48s or whatever, it's a good starting platform. Yeah. And awards will tell you if you're doing things on the right track. Right. Most of the time. There's times where you're wondering why, you watch something and they did get at this, but at least you'll know you're on the right track. And also, like I said, the audience will tell you, your audience reaction in the theater is going to tell you, how you feel about the movie and how good it is.
Because it's natural.
Because it's natural.
I think studying those films too, it'll help you learn that when I was a younger filmmaker, I didn't understand the rules of filmmaking. I just knew something didn't look good. And I think when you start learning rules of composition, you learn the 180 rule, you learn to put your lights on the opposite side of the camera, things like that. When you learn these rules, dominant shot, right? If you have a superior actor, you have a inferior shot for a victim, and I call them victim shots, or a softer feel. Right. When you learn those rules as a director, and when to use focal lengths, like using an 85 for your over-the-shoulder dialogue, when things work, and those rules are there since the 60s and 40s, and when film was there. But as a young filmmaker, you're going to like you said, the 48s. When you're shooting your stuff, you're just like, oh, that looks bad. But when you start to learn and watch other people's stuff and doing it and really diving into YouTube, why they did this, watch the commentary. Back in the 90s, there was breakdowns on every DVD. You could watch behind the scenes of the director, and he's explaining shots, and
you can learn from it.
HBO does this with like the
behind the scenes,
Game of Thrones houses that dragons built.
Oh no, Ozark. I mean, Ozark, one of my favorite shows, one of the best shows ever done, TV series. Just to watch, every time I watched that show, and I was like, oh, they've got to have a dolly. And then they did behind the scenes after the last season, and they had this massive
like 60-foot crane
that went all the way. I said, how do they go through that house on that shot? And it showed the camera going through the house. It was amazing. I mean, I want that.
There's a shot, I think it was that sorry, I'm just being a nerd at the moment, that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he like pulls up in the car, and there's like by the billboard, it's like a crane shot that tracks the whole car, then pulls out, and it almost looks like it's a drone because the crane's so big, and then it goes back around.
Yeah,
I have watched that over and over, and just like it's something you can't, like, that DP and director thought of that shot for so long.
They did.
Just that one, it's like a 5-second clip.
Yeah. There's so many. You're on the shot thing. You know, there's a shot I've posted on social, and I'm on social media, by the way, and I can give that information out. When on Ozark, she was about to go kill one of the leads in the show, and she's in the elevator and has the stainless steel mirrored, and he shot it on the reflection, and you can see a double vision of her, and all you can do is see her face, and you know in her face and her eyes she's about to go kill that guy.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant.
That's the mother, the scene with the mother.
No, that's when the oh gosh, what is her name? The real Southern girl that played the leads.
Garner. Julia Garner.
Julia Garner is the actress.
Yeah, she's so good.
Yes, she's great. She's very organic. She, in her eyes and on her face, you can see what she was about to do.
Yeah.
A brilliant shot. And then they shot another shot when she went to go kill. Rain coming down, lights lighting it. She's standing there soaking wet with the, weapon in her hand. It's wonderful. I mean, things like that, you plan that. And I think a lot of times people will pitch their stories or their scripts to me, and I will see it in scenes.
Yeah.
It's just something that I do. I see everything in a scene, and it's running in my head, playing it out of how I would shoot it or how I perceive it. I think every director may be different, but I perceive it how it's going to be played.
That's how I do it. I like to, I know it's basic. I'm not, every DP probably does this, but I like to line out scripts and storyboard, and really, I think that pre-production of getting on set and knowing, now not all the time, there's a lot of products we don't get that, you don't get that time of pre-production. You don't get that time with the script, with the director, but where I can, especially commercial world, having that shot design, that lined out script with your shot list, and really sitting down, you should be able to see it before you start shooting it. And then once you have your vision laid out, you put it in the hands of a talented editor, and then he blows your mind. You're like, holy cow, I never thought about cutting it here. And one of the things we have talked about is like the importance of having a talented editor. It will change your whole film. Just back to that whole cadence and composition, when to know to go to macro shots, when to go to just timing, to let that door stay closed just for a few seconds with the music before it goes to the next scene, that scene to scene transition. There's a lot of things you learn from experience.
So that goes back to my question about AI. Yeah. Because AI can time those things for you now. So how do you, when do you see that it's beneficial? Because I'm not really a big supporter of AI. I think
a lot of people aren't. So, I think I just spoke to maybe as a director or producer recently, and they said that AI, just like anything, it's a tool.
Right.
If you can learn the tool, it can make you a better filmmaker. Yes, but one thing we know for certain is you can't bring the human side of things from AI. That's why they'll need, directors that can show that, the feel, the real feel, and the actors and the depth of, in your eyes that tells that story that you've been through this pain. You just allowed, like in Ozark, let's just go back to Ozark. We're on Ozark for a while, where you know that your brother's a loose cannon and he's going to say something. So you allow a hitman to take him out and just have to deal with that as a sister to your brother and take that in. I mean, that was That was a lot to do. As an
Yeah,
actor.
there's a
I
very
feel
human element to that.
It
Right.
was. It was
There's
guilt.
Nothing
too.
against Ozark, but there's a very Of Mice and Men ripoff storyline to that too. That is my least favorite season of Ozarks because I feel like they just took the straight storyline
with
of Mice
the brother.
and Men. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the writers didn't know if they were gonna have a season and had to figure out a way to continue it. But man, I think we're almost out of time.
Oh, that show wasn't entertaining. That's for sure. Though. At least we.
Oh, it's one
we
of my
got to put
favorites.
it
I loved
in
it. I
there.
didn't like
Yeah.
the ending, but I did love
Yeah,
the
I know. A
show.
lot
I'm
of
not gonna
people-
say it.
Yeah.
I haven't. I watched like. I really did like I think I only watched like the first 2 episodes of Ozark, but
Jason Bateman's
fell right
a
into it.
legend. Like I
was really
love
good.
Jason Bateman as a director, actor.
Everything.
I highly recommend watching the whole season
yeah.
Probably
or all
should.
4 seasons.
Jason Bateman is very talented. I'd love to work with him one day.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
But Aaron, thank you for coming on, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you getting to share your knowledge and experience with everybody.
Thank you for having
wish
me.
we had more time because I feel like there's so much more.
I'm full of information and experience in life. That's for sure. So maybe on the next time around.
Definitely.
We'll do something new.